Hello and welcome to Rogue Media Top 10s featuring the horror movie podcast BooBaes. I'm your co-host Caitlin.
And I'm your co-host Joshua.
And this is the top 10 slasher movies based on real life events. Number 10. The Strangers, which was released in 2008. What's more terrifying than a knock at the door in the middle of the night? The Strangers takes home invasion horror to chilling new levels. Loosely inspired by the Manson family murders and an unsettling series of burglaries director Brian Bertino experienced as a child, this film reminds us that sometimes evil doesn't need a reason. It just shows up. Because You Are Home has never sounded more disturbing.
Number 9. Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer, released in 1986. Raw, grim, and deeply unsettling, Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer is based on the confessions of real-life killer Henry Lee Lucas, though his claims were often exaggerated. The film doesn't glamorize, it's a slow, cold stare into the life of a drifter who kills without conscience. It's not just horror, it's a descent into the heart of darkness, grounded in grim reality.
Number 8, Wolf Creek, released in 2005. Set against the eerie isolation of the Australian outback, Wolf Creek draws chilling inspiration from real-life backpacker murders committed by Bradley John Murdoch, who is currently serving life in prison for his crimes. The film's villain, Mick Taylor, is a sadistic bushman who stalks, tortures, and mutilates his victims with unnerving glee. This one blurs the line between survival horror and true crime nightmare.
Number 7. Maniac, released in 1980. If you ever wanted a front row seat to pure madness, Maniac delivers. Loosely inspired by real-life serial killer Richard Speck, who murdered 8 student nurses in one night, this film follows a disturbed man haunted by trauma and driven to kill. Shot in gritty guerrilla style, it's sleazy, bloody, and claustrophobically intimate. Warning, you may want to take a shower after watching this film.
Number 6, The Snowtown Murders, released in 2011. Australia strikes again. The Snowtown Murders, also known as just Snowtown, dramatizes the horrifying crimes of John Bunting and his accomplices who tortured and killed in the name of vigilante justice. It's not flashy or stylized, it is bleak, brutal, and deeply psychological. This one is less about the kills and more about the slowly rotting corruption of a community.
Number 5, A Nightmare on Elm Street, released in 1984. Freddy Krueger may be a supernatural slasher, but did you know Wes Craven was inspired by a real phenomenon? In the 1970s, several Southeast Asian refugees died in their sleep, reportedly after experiencing terrifying nightmares. It was called sudden unexplained nocturnal death syndrome. Craven read about it and thought, what if your dreams could really kill you? Spawning 7 sequels and 1 remake, the terrifying legacy of Elm Street continues to endure over 4 decades later.
Number 4, My Friend Dahmer, released in 2017. Less of a slasher flick and more of a slow burn biography, My Friend Dahmer gives us a chilling look at serial killer Jeffrey Dahmer's teenage years before his infamous murders began. Based on a graphic novel written by Dahmer's actual classmate, the film paints an eerie portrait of isolation, obsession, and the red flags that can often be missed.
Number 3, The Town That Dreaded Sundown, released in 1976. Part slasher and part documentary, this cult classic is based on the real Texarkana Moonlight Murders of 1946. A mass killer attacked several couples under the cover of darkness, and the case was never solved. The film adds some creative license, however, the true story remains just as haunting. The Phantom Killer legend still looms large over Texarkana to this day.
Number 2, Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho, released in 1960. Hitchcock's masterpiece wasn't just a cinematic game changer, it was also inspired by one of the most disturbing real-life murderers, the notorious Ed Gein. The reclusive Wisconsin farmer kept body parts, wore human skin, and had a thing for his dead mother. Sound familiar? Psycho may be fiction, but the Ed Gein-inspired character Norman Bates is pure nightmare fuel.
And finally, number 1, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, released in 1974. Not unlike the film on our number 2 spot, this classic slasher is also rooted in the crimes of Ed Gein. While there's no evidence that Gein ever wielded a chainsaw, he did craft furniture and clothing out of human remains. Tobe Hooper turned that grotesque inspiration into one of horror's most influential bloodbaths. Raw, relentless, and iconic. And this was the top 10 slasher movies inspired by real life events. If you enjoyed this video or you enjoy horror movies in general, be sure to check out our podcast, BooBaes, wherever you get your podcasts. I'm your spooky co-host Joshua.
And I'm your equally spooky co-host Caitlin.
And thank you for watching.